Steve Jobs, known as Stephen Paul Jobs, was born in February 24, 1955 in San Francisco, California, USA. Steve Jobs did his early schooling in San Francisco, California, USA. Steve Jobs didn't completed his graduation. He got admitted in Reed College, Portland in 1972, but he dropped out after one semester in 1972. Steve Jobs was passed away on October 5, 2011 due to pancreatic cancer at the age of 56 in Palo Alto, California, USA. Steve Jobs' biological parents were Abdul Fattah Jandali and Joanne Schiebel. He grown up with his adoptive parents Paul Jobs and Clara Hagopian. Steve Jobs had only one sister, Mona Simpson. Mona Simpson is a writer and an English literature professor. She's famous for her novel Anywhere But Here. Steve Jobs got married on March 18, 1991 with Laureen Powell. Steve and Laureen was a happy married couple. They separate in 2011 due to Steve's sudden death. Steve Jobs has 4 kids, one son Reed Jobs and 3 daughters Lisa Jobs, Erin Jobs and Eve Jobs. Steve Jobs was the CEO of Apple Inc. and Next. He co-founded Apple with Steve Wozniak and Ronald Wayne on April 1, 1976. Steve Jobs founded Next Computer in 1985, which focused on high-end workstations. Steve Jobs played an important role in the development of the iconic products, Apple Macintosh, iPod, iPhone and iPad. Steve Jobs was ousted from his company Apple in 1985, he returned in 1997 when Apple acquired his company Next. Steve Jobs co-founded Pixar Animation Studios, which produced successful films like Toy Story and Finding Nemo. Steve Jobs introduced his first Macintosh computer in 1984. Featuring a user graphical interface. Steve Jobs introduced the iPod in 2001, which revolutionized the music industry with its design and iTunes integration. Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone in 2007, which set a new standard in smartphone industry. Steve Jobs launched App Store in 2008, which transformed the software distribution model. Steve Jobs was a university dropout, but later he received so many honorary degrees from various institutes. Steve Jobs was a very simple person. He liked simplicity and minimalism. That's why he gave a clear and a simple design to Apple product. After Steve Jobs' death, Walter Isaacson wrote a biography on Steve Jobs' life. His title was Steve Jobs and was published in 2011.